She smiled when you handed her the check. Thank you for the opportunity. Said she couldn't wait to help you succeed. And then she spent the next 8 weeks quietly stealing everything you built. This is the psychology of betrayal, and if you don't understand it, you're next. You trusted them, you paid them well, really well, and one of them didn't just betray you, they turned your whole team into thieves. Now you're sitting there, project unfinished, reputation damaged, referrals gone. And the worst part? You're wondering if you were too generous, too trusting, if kindness was the mistake. Let me tell you something Machiavelli understood that most people refuse to accept. The problem wasn't your generosity. It was your naivety about human nature. Here's what I mean. You've seen this before, haven't you? Maybe not in your own business, but you've watched it happen. A manager hires someone brilliant, charismatic, skilled, exactly what the team needs, pays them top dollar, gives them autonomy, trusts them completely. And then, 6 months later, the company discovers they've been running a side business using company resources, or feeding client lists to competitors, or quietly sabotaging projects to make themselves look indispensable while everyone else looks incompetent. And here's the part that stings. They didn't just betray the boss, they corrupted the whole culture. Other employees started cutting corners, thinking, well, if Sarah's doing it. The standards dissolved, the trust evaporated. And by the time leadership figured it out, the damage was institutional. Think about Theranos. Elizabeth Holmes didn't just lie to investors, she created a culture where lying became normal, where employees who questioned the technology were pushed out, where fake it till you make it became fake it and destroy anyone who notices. Or think smaller. Your local contractor who quotes you fairly, starts the job, then suddenly discovers problems that'll cost thousands more. They're not just overcharging you, they're training their crew that this is how business works, that customers are marks, not partners. This is the psychology Machiavelli decoded 500 years ago, and we still haven't learned it. When you build something, a business, a team, a project, you make a classic error. You assume that good treatment creates loyalty, that fair payment builds trust, that if you're ethical, others will be too. Machiavelli would have asked you a harder question. Are you creating loyalty or just making yourself dependent on their goodwill? Here's the dark psychology at work. Let's say you're running a digital marketing agency in Toronto. You land a massive client, 3-month contract, great money. You hire 2 freelancers to help, one brilliant copywriter, one sharp designer. You pay them 20% above market rate because you want quality and you believe in fair compensation. In your mind, you've created an exchange. I give you excellent money and respect. You give me excellent work and loyalty. But in their minds, different contract entirely. The copywriter, let's call her the wolf, she sees he's charging the client $50,000. He's paying me $8,000. That's a massive margin. I could cut him out and pitch the client directly. This is what Hobbes meant when he said humans in the state of nature are driven by appetite and aversion, not gratitude. Your generosity didn't create obligation, it created appetite. Because you fed the wolf, but you never showed your teeth. The wolf doesn't just steal the client. That's too obvious, too risky. Instead, she does something more insidious. She starts undermining you to the client. In meetings, she subtly positions herself as the real creative force. Oh, I'm so glad you liked that campaign direction. I fought hard to get that approved. She copies the client on emails without you. She makes herself indispensable while making you look like overhead. And here's where it gets psychological. She rebrands theft as merit. She's not betraying you. She's finally getting recognized for her actual value. She's not stealing. She's cutting out the middleman. You're not her employer. You're an obstacle to her direct relationship with the client. This is dark psychology at its finest. Reframing reality so betrayal feels like justice. But it gets worse, because she doesn't work alone. She starts talking to the designer, casual at first. Have you noticed how much he's making off us? We do all the real work. She plants seeds, creates resentment where none existed before. And you know what happens next? The designer doesn't resist, because resisting would mean breaking peer solidarity, would mean admitting, actually, our employer took the risk, found the client, manages the relationship, handles all the admin we hate. That's uncomfortable. It's easier to agree. Social psychologists call this pluralistic ignorance and groupthink. Machiavelli just called it human weakness. Within weeks, you've got a conspiracy. The wolf has rewritten everyone's understanding of the situation. And you, sitting in your office, thinking everything's fine, have no idea. 3 weeks before the project deadline, the client emails you. We've decided to work directly with Sarah and Mike moving forward. We appreciate you connecting us, but we feel they understand our brand better. You're gutted, shocked. You trusted these people. You paid them well. But here's what really happened. The wolf spent 8 weeks building a parallel relationship, positioning you as dispensable, creating the narrative that she and the designer were the real talent. And the client? They don't care about loyalty to you. They care about saving 40% by cutting you out. By the time you realized what was happening, it was too late. The contract's gone. Your reputation takes a hit because the client tells others they moved on from your agency. And the wolf? She's already rewritten history. She tells people you were disorganized, that the project was chaotic, that she had to step in to save the client relationship. She's made herself the hero of a story where you're the incompetent villain. This should make you furious. Now here's what Machiavelli and Montesquieu and Madison and every political thinker who studied power would have done differently. 1. Never give complete access without complete accountability. You probably let the wolf communicate directly with the client, right? Thought it showed trust. Thought it made the work smoother. Big mistake. Every client touchpoint should have gone through you. Not because you're controlling, because you're maintaining the relationship structure. The client hired your agency, not freelancers. The moment you let that distinction blur, you gave the wolf permission to erase you. This is what Montesquieu meant by separation of powers. In government, you separate legislative, executive, judicial, so no one branch can dominate. In business, you separate client relationships from execution for the same reason. 2. Create visible accountability systems. That wolf influenced the designer because the betrayal was invisible to you, but visible to them. You needed systems where deviation was immediately obvious. Weekly progress reports. Client meetings where you present the work, not the freelancers. Clear contracts with non-compete and non-solicitation clauses that you actually enforce. Not because you distrust everyone, but because transparency prevents wolves from creating alternative realities. Think about how Amazon manages their warehouse workers. Every item scanned, every movement tracked. Sounds dystopian, right? But it's not about cruelty. It's about making theft and slacking structurally difficult. You can't steal what's being counted in real time. You needed the business equivalent. The moment you sensed something off, not proof, just instinct, what did you do? Did you have a direct conversation? Did you check in with the client independently? Or did you hesitate, not wanting to seem paranoid, hoping it was nothing? Because every day you delayed was a day the wolf taught the designer, he won't actually do anything. Hobbes understood this brutally. Authority is only real if it's credibly enforced. You don't have to be harsh. You just have to be certain and immediate. If you'd caught even a hint of direct client communication you didn't authorize, that should have triggered an instant conversation. Hey, I noticed you called the client without me. That's outside our workflow. Don't do it again. Calm, professional, but absolutely clear. Right now, somewhere in Toronto's marketing scene, the wolf is telling people a story about you. About the disorganized agency, the difficult boss, how she had to rescue the client. And you're silent. Machiavelli's chapter on reputation is ruthless. Men judge by appearances. If you don't control your story, someone else will. You should have sent a professional note to your network. We recently parted ways with a client who chose to work directly with contractors we'd introduced them to. It's a reminder to tighten our agreements moving forward. Not vindictive, clinical, factual. Let the wolf carry the stain of being known as someone who poaches clients, not you carrying the stain of being the agency people leave. But here's the thing I need you to understand, because this is where most people misread Machiavelli entirely. He didn't say trust no one. He said trust structures, not character. Your mistake wasn't being kind or generous. It was building everything on the character of people you didn't actually know, on the assumption that payment creates loyalty, on the belief that good intentions are reciprocated. Weber studied this exact dynamic when he analyzed bureaucracy. He said modern organizations work not because people are virtuous, but because roles, rules, and accountability make virtue irrelevant. You don't need saints. You need systems that work even when people are selfish. Google doesn't trust that employees won't steal code. They build systems where stealing code is nearly impossible and instantly detectable. Banks don't trust that tellers won't steal. They build systems with cameras, dual controls, daily reconciliation. It's not cynicism. It's intelligent design. So, here's what you do now. 1. Tighten every contract moving forward. Non-compete clauses, non-solicitation agreements, clear terms about who owns client relationships, and actually enforce them. One cease and desist letter to a wolf costs $2,000 but saves you $50,000 in lost business and protects your reputation. 2. Gatekeep client access. Freelancers and employees can execute, but client relationships? Those stay with you or your senior partners, always. The client hired your judgment and your brand. Never let them forget that. 3. Build milestone-based compensation. Never pay the full rate up front. Never. Structure it so the final 30% comes after successful delivery and client satisfaction. Makes betrayal expensive for the wolf. 4. Create peer accountability, not peer conspiracy. Your team members should report to you individually, not just to each other. When people's primary loyalty is to their peers rather than the structure, you get mutinies. This is why military units have clear chains of command. Why corporate teams have individual performance reviews, not just group metrics. You need people accountable to the institution, not just their buddies. But here's what I need you to hear. The temptation right now is to become cynical, to never trust anyone again, to assume everyone's a wolf. Don't. Machiavelli's tragedy was that he loved Florence. He wanted it to thrive. His cynicism about human nature came from caring so much that he refused to be stupid about it. There's a massive difference between bitterness and wisdom. You can still be generous. You can still pay well. You can still treat people with respect and build amazing teams. Just never again without structural intelligence underneath. Because the dark psychology at work here isn't some mystery. It's simple. Opportunity plus rationalization minus consequences equals betrayal. The wolf didn't wake up evil. She saw a chance, direct client access, created a justification, I deserve this, and took it because nothing stopped her. No accountability systems. Your job isn't to prevent evil people from existing. It's to prevent the conditions that turn ordinary people into wolves. And that is the lesson Machiavelli spent his life trying to teach princes who refused to listen until it was too late. Don't be that prince. Build better. Build smarter. The next project you run, it'll be airtight. Not because you're paranoid, because you're experienced now. And experience, as Machiavelli knew, is the only teacher that fools finally listen to.